we only have a brief description of the early years of Jesus.
From the closing verses of Luke chapter 2. Then Jesus went down to Nazareth with his parents and was obedient to them. And Jesus grew in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man. That's it. That's all we have from the early decades of Jesus' life. I'm Jack Beck in the Nazareth village to see if we can fill in some of the gaps left by the gospel accounts. Now, Nazareth of the first century was a tiny little village that sat at the bottom of a valley surrounded by high ridges. It was isolated from the rest of the world and really the perfect place for an observant Jewish family to go and teach their kids about the faith of their forebears without the interference from a pagan worldview that existed outside these valley walls. That Nazareth of the first century doesn't exist anymore. And that's why we're here in this living museum to get a better sense of what Jesus' life was like in those early decades. What did Nazareth do for Jesus that couldn't get done outside this valley? Two things, I think. First of all, this is where the young Jesus learned his Bible. From mom and dad, from the rabbi at the synagogue, he learned everything that was foundational to what he would be when he left this particular valley. Jesus did not grow up among the elites of the first century. He grew up among the most ordinary of the ordinary people. He watched his mom bake bread and make clothing. He watched dad work with stone and wood. He spent time in the family olive groves. He watched families deal with challenging relationships. He watched what illness could do in homes, and he watched as loved ones carried their family member to the grave. Jesus learned the essence of the human experience in this place. Those are the things that he took out of this valley when he left. And when he left, he brought them to our lives too. If you've wondered if Jesus gets you, if you've been hesitant to pray because you think, well, he either wouldn't be concerned or understand what it is that I'm going through, take a walk through the Nazareth village and look at how Jesus learned what the ordinary life looked like. Jesus grew up in the Nazareth village among people whose lives look just like ours. And you know what that means? He gets us.